Welcome back, everybody, to the SOS Stacey on Sports podcast show, episode number 6. I am your host, Stacey Carter II. And speaking of the number 6, I got two people from the 6. First, returning to the show for the second time, Ben Okazawa. Ben, say what's up to the people.
What's going on? Thanks for having me, Stacey. Happy to be back. Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. And my second guest, also from Toronto, two-time podcast host. He talks about basketball. He talks about hockey. He's out of Toronto, too. Big Raptors fan, Joey Congi. Joey, what's up, man? What's the word?
How's it going, man? Thanks for having me on. I'm excited.
I appreciate you being on. Everybody, just look at Joey's background for a second. Joey, if you can tell people what's in your background.
I got the 2019 championship banner behind me. You know, always got a rep. Got the championship hat, too. You know, just a moment I'll never forget.
Right, look at that. Look at Ben. Ben, you're lacking. You're lacking today, man.
I got the championship, the picture frame. It's the best I can do. But I'm reckoning my guy Anthony Bennett for the
Anthony Bennett. Well, all right. So today's episode, everybody, is going to be all about the NBA. All about the NBA. The NBA season is literally right around the corner. So we just going to break it down. NBA 2020, 2021. Pretty sure it's going to be exciting. More storylines. Everything's going to happen. So, guys, y'all ready to get into it?
Oh, good. Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. So, let's start off with what to watch for this coming NBA season. Like, what are things that we are looking forward to play out before the season ends? Joey, you know, as the first time on this show, we're going to start with you. What are you looking forward to this season? What you watching for?
I'm pretty interested to see what's going on in Brooklyn. That looks like it's going to be a lot of fun to see how it plays out, because there's still a lot of question marks around how the dynamic will work too, or if Kyrie and KD can stay healthy. The James Harden situation for sure. I wonder if he's going to finish the season in Houston or even start it in Houston. Who knows at this point? And the Phoenix Suns are another fun team to watch for too. I have a feeling they're going to make some noise this year too, especially in the Western standings.
Oh, yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, there's a lot to kind of break down this season. Warriors, like you said, the Suns, Nets. Biggest thing I kind of am looking for and just kind of want to see how he performs this season is Zion Williamson. I think after last year, he only played, 20 games, finishes second in Rookie of the Year voting, I believe, top 3. And there's all this hype surrounding him. He's a 2K cover athlete. He's this, he's that. And I just want to see if he can kind of live up to the expectations, because I think it's been, first of all, he had a great 20-game stretch at the end of last year, but can he stay healthy? Can he kind of keep up that shooting 60% from the field, averaging like 16 points per game? It's definitely going to be tough for him to sort of live up to that hype that's been built around him, but that's the thing I'm trying to watch for the most.
Oh, yeah, Zion, definitely. Here's some things, Joey, you already alluded to, James Harden. I do want to see how that all plays out. Does he get traded before the season starts? Does he get traded during the season? Does he stay the whole time? And next year he gets traded. We don't know. Thing is, the Rockets, they still have a good team. They still have a good team, especially if their new acquisitions, Christian Wood, John Wall, and DeMarcus Cousins, especially if they stay healthy and they click. They can put a dent in the Western Conference, but ironically enough, it all falls on James Harden. What's his mentality? What's he's going to do? A couple other things I'm watching for. Kawhi Leonard. I'm watching for Kawhi Leonard to take that next step into being a leader. Last year, we all know what happened to the Clippers. We all know what happened to them. We all know the aftermath. We've heard the stories recently that came out about the NBA is investigating how they even got Kawhi Leonard and Paul George in the first place. And I'm looking to see if Kawhi Leonard can take that next level to his game mentally. Can he uplift his team? That's what this team is missing. They're missing leadership. That's why they couldn't close the deal against the Denver Nuggets. So can Kawhi Leonard be a complete superstar? Can he be a complete superstar? And also I'm looking for the bottom teams, the bottom half teams of each conference. The playoff picture is going to shake up this year. In the West, course, looking for the Pelicans. Then you got the Memphis Grizzlies, who were competitive last year. The Phoenix Suns, everybody's expected them to take a playoff spot from somebody. And I'm also looking for like the Minnesota Timberwolves. I think they're going to be a little bit more better now that not only they got Karl Anthony Towns, but they got his homeboy D'Angelo Russell, and they got some young pieces on their team. In the East, teams like Atlanta, everybody expects Atlanta to make the playoffs after what they did. I think also Chicago and the Wizards, I think they're going to be better too. So It's going to be a lot of shakeup in the NBA. I think like almost every team this year has a chance to make a playoffs, except for a few. But
For sure.
I think the parity is very strong this year. What y'all think about that?
I mean, outside of like the Cavs, Knicks, teams like that, you're looking at pretty much everyone's going to be competitive. I agree. That 7 to like 11 race in both conferences is going to be really tight, and especially since there's going to be a play-in tournament this year, it'll be really interesting to see what happens with those sort of like lower playoff tier teams.
Joey, what you think?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a really exciting season just because of that. Like what Ben said, for those like bottom few like playoff spots, it's going to be very interesting to see how that pans out, because there's a lot of teams that will be competitive down there, and it's going to be tough, especially if like for like predicting standings and all that. It's going to be tough leaving some teams out, but that's just going to be the reality of it. There's going to be some good teams who get left out of the playoffs this year, which will make for an exciting season.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so speaking of teams, let's keep the train rolling. Surprise teams. Now, I put down somebody from the East and somebody from the West. Somebody from the East, somebody from the West. I'm going to start it off, then, Ben, I'm going to pass it to you. My surprise team of the East. Now, I don't think they're going to make the playoffs, but I just think that they're going to be better. The Washington Wizards. And I say that because they still got Bradley Beal, who, rep my hometown, St. Louis. And then also they have Russell Westbrook in the fold. On this show, I stated that I think Russell Westbrook is a healthier version of John Wall. I think they're the same type of player, but Russell Westbrook, you could count on him being on the floor. I think he will put leadership into this team. I think he will make them better. Also, they returned Davis Bertans. Sorry if I butchered the name. They returned him. Pretty good shooter. They got some young pieces on their team. They should be a little bit better. In the West, I had them last year. They let me down, but I'm gonna have faith in them a little bit more this year. The Pelicans. Stan Van Gundy, I think he's an underrated coach. Now, will we see him as a great coach in the grand scheme of things compared to like Phil Jackson or Coach Pop? No, but I think he gets the job done. We all saw what he did with that Orlando Magic team. I think he would have them playing better. Brandon Ingram still on the up and up. Zion, that's who I'm looking forward to. Had a fantastic preseason, fantastic, and he should stay healthy. Lonzo Ball, his development will be key on this team. I think he's in my early pool for most improved player of the year. And then they still have surrounding pieces to complement those guys. So those are my two surprise teams in the East. I have the Wizards. In the West, I have the Pelicans. Who do you think will be the surprise teams, East and West, Ben?
I mean, for me, and it's weird to say this about someone who was competing for a championship literally less than a few months ago, but people are leaving the Miami Heat out of every conversation when it comes to the Eastern Conference, which is really surprising. Now, how are we going to disrespect a team that just made the finals? You got Jimmy Butler, Tyler Hero, Kendrick Nunn, all those young guys, Andre Iguodala still, and you add some good rookies like Precious Achua looked great in the preseason. He had like a 13-15 double-double the other night against the Raptors. So I'm really watching out for the Heat, and I think they're going to surprise some people because, like I said, no one's really mentioning them, which is shocking for a finals contender from last year. And then out west, I mean, it's definitely kind of basic, but I got to go with the Phoenix Suns. I think people are expecting them to do well, but I don't know if people have them doing as well as they might actually do. People are looking at them as sort of like a 6 seed type thing. I think it might be higher than that for sure.
Higher? What you like? How high are you talking?
I think as high as 4, honestly.
High as 4.
Because you got teams like the Rockets, I think might collapse. But then you got the Lakers, you got the Clippers, and then outside of that, it's sort of an open race. I think the Mavs will be tough. There are definitely some teams that will give them a run for their money for that 4 or 5 seed, but I think they might do better than people expect.
Okay, I can't wait to get to your standards, your playoff standards. All right, Joey, who are your surprise teams that you're looking for?
In the East, this one's a bit off the board, but I think the Charlotte Hornets will be a little more competitive this year. I think they'll be making a run. I don't know. I think they'll surprise some. I think it was a terrible deal for the long term, but I think Hayward will definitely help them out a bit. Like,
Yeah, he just hurt his hand though.
he did, yes, but I don't know. I don't think he's going to be out for too long. And I think what's it, Ball. I forgot his first name for a second. Lamelo Ball. That's it. I think Lamelo Ball will. I think he looks really good. He'll be a good piece to have too. I'm not saying they're gonna make the playoffs. I think they're just gonna surprise some people, be more competitive than people would think. And out west, there's a few teams that I think I don't want to take the same answer as Ben and say the Suns, but I don't know in the West. I think I'm gonna say I think the Grizzlies I think will be a lot better. I think I really like John Morant. I'm a big fan of his.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they got a lot of really good young pieces there too, aside from him, and especially Brendan Clark too. I really like him as well. Yeah, they got some veteran players there too, and Valanciunas and all that, former Raptor. So yeah, I think the Memphis will make a run for that one of those final playoff spots too.
Yeah, Memphis Grizzlies, to me, they like the team that I don't get right now. Like, of course, last year, especially towards the end, they were competitive. It literally came down to the last possible game for them to make the playoffs. But however, they kind of faltered. But Ja Morant, even at a young age, is a fantastic leader for this team. Fantastic. And I love his play. He need to finish some of those dunks that he be missing sometimes, but I do love his play.
Yeah.
I just don't know. It's like, okay, like, yeah, they can be good, but we also just talked up the Phoenix Suns who didn't make the playoffs as well. And them, I kind of, with them having Chris Paul now, I kind of trust them more to be better than the Memphis Grizzlies. Ben, let me turn it back to you. What do you think about the Memphis Grizzlies prospects this season?
It's tough. I mean, you got a really good young core there. Obviously, Ja Morant leading the charge, and you got guys like Brandon Clark and Dylan Brooks from Canada. And then even to go, to other guys that they just acquired recently, like from Miami in that trade for Iguodala, they got Justice Winslow, and he was good for a long time for the Heat as sort of a glue guy for them. So I think it just fits their culture, and they might want to be one of those teams that kind of surprises people because they don't have expectations. And I think they could do better than a lot of people are expecting, just like they did last year. And they got a great head coach as well.
Yeah, we'll see about the Memphis Grizzlies, but it's going to be exciting overall. All right, let's move on to our very, very, very early MVP candidates. Do anybody have Giannis and LeBron on their list like I do? I think the whole
Yeah.
world does. So
I mean,
go ahead.
it's kind of tough. Like, voter fatigue is a real thing.
Yeah.
People aren't going to want to see Giannis win for a third time in a row. So while I think he'll do enough to probably deserve, to be in that conversation, I think it might be one of those years where people are like, it's like with LeBron, like from 2007 to exactly 2007 to like 2015 when KD exploded. LeBron was the best player in the league every year. Now, obviously, he doesn't win MVP every year because nobody wants to just vote LeBron every year. That gets boring. Fans especially don't want to see that. So voters kind of take that in mind when the media is like picking stuff like that. So yeah, voter fatigue is a real thing. I don't think Giannis is going to be able to win again. I got LeBron, Luka, and Giannis in my top three, but I don't think Giannis is going to win.
LeBron, Luka, and Giannis for Ben.
Yes,
All
sir.
right, Joey, who is your MVP candidates?
Well, obviously LeBron and Giannis. You can't ignore those names
Yeah,
when you're
right.
going through the MVP race. Um, but yeah, I can see Luka going there, like Luka being on that list. Um, maybe I don't know. There's some like dark horse names too, who like not maybe everyone's thinking of, but can probably do something, like have a breakout season, like maybe like a Tatum on Boston can like break out.
Oh,
This is just
Tatum for
dark.
MVP?
I don't know. He's got to really step up his game, but it's not. I don't think it's completely out of the question.
Oh, that's my boy again. STL representing well. STL representing well. That's my boy, but I don't know about MVP right now.
No, that's a real long shot pick. I was just
Yeah.
throwing out names to make conversation, but but yeah, outside of those three, Luca, Giannis, and LeBron,
Yeah.
it's not really much else
Yeah.
that's there.
Well,
I
I
mean, I
got a
think
couple.
Tate. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I got a couple names. I got a couple names for y'all that y'all didn't mention. I'm surprised y'all ain't mentioned this name right here. Well, I guess just because he played with my favorite player of all time, Anthony Davis.
Hmm.
But if this is the year Anthony Davis be that unquestioned number one guy on this team, which I'm looking for because he's younger. His skill sets are phenomenal. He's probably one of the few unguardable players in the NBA. It's tough to guard AD. AD only trips himself up. That's his downfall right there, and him not coming out as aggressive out the gate. But I think that if he puts up the same numbers, he needs to increase his rebounding because last year I think he posted like his lowest rebound numbers. He was around 9 per game. But I think if he goes back to that double-double, that 26, 27, 28, and get about 12 boards and continue his defensive play, he was Rob Defensive Player of the Year last year. I think we all know that.
Mm-hmm.
I think he can win I think he'll have a chance to win the MVP. I think his value is now skyrocketed for this team. And another name that I have, this might be a little bit surprising, but given the situation, he could do it. Steph. Steph. I mean, the Warriors, they should be able to do way better than they did last year. They should. And Steph, he's the number one go-to guy on this team. It's going to be reminiscent of when he won the MVP last time before, KD got there and we seen Clay take off and everything.
He doesn't even have to share the ball with Clay this time. That's the thing. I mean, he's going to be taking the bulk of the shots for that team. Yeah, for sure. And I wish Clay was right there next to him, but it just all the more opportunity for Steph. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's in that conversation as well. But I do want to say about Tatum. I mean, he's got that it factor, and he's got the keys. He's got the keys to the Boston offense too. So it definitely wouldn't surprise me for him to be in that conversation. He's got the exact right sort of factors. Everything is going right for him to have a bit of a breakout season. He's got the keys. He led Boston to the Eastern Conference Finals last season. And he's sort of ready. He's one of those wing guys who's just a dominant player.
Yeah. Joe, what you think about Steph as far as him being an MVP candidate?
Yeah, I can definitely see it. He's had a broken hand last year, so it's not like anything too serious that would limit him this year after being fully recovered. So yeah, and it's just like what Ben alluded to. There's not going to be Klay Thompson for him to share the ball with. So yeah, he'll be taking all the shots, and he's still probably like the best 3-point shooter of all time too. I have the Golden State Warriors finishing pretty high in the standings, like higher than what most people would say. I think just because not like ridiculously high or anything, but I don't know. I think they'll be better than what some people think just because of Steph Curry and what he brings to the team.
Yeah. Speaking of the standings, the only way because I think Steph is going to put up his numbers this year, no doubt.
Mm-hmm.
But the only way that he'll win the MVP is if the Warriors make the playoffs. And that's a crazy thing that we are questioning whether the Warriors going to make the playoffs or not. But they have to make the playoffs this year in order for him to get MVP. It's sort of like what happened with Russell Westbrook a while ago, where he won the MVP, but I don't think he would have won it if the Thunder was not in the playoffs. Remember, they finished sixth that year.
Yeah.
And when he had that triple-double. So the Warriors have to make the playoffs in order for him to get MVP. But speaking of standings, it's time for that fun part. We got to get to the standings. You know, we always start off with our playoff predictions, beginning of the year, middle of the year, and then we talked about the playoffs at the end. But, you know, why not? Let's have some fun. We're going to do both East and West. Going to start with the East, 1 through 8. Who dares to start first?
Ben, you want to go?
Ben, you got it?
All
Ben,
right,
you got
I'm
it?
all over it. Yeah. All right, so I'll start with the Eastern Conference. I got Milwaukee as the 1 seed, but I don't think they're going to be able to get past teams like 76ers, Brooklyn Nets, maybe even the Boston Celtics come playoff time. But I think regular season, they'll finish as the 1 seed as they have past 2 years. I got the 76ers finishing in second. You take guys like Embiid and Simmons and then surround them with shooters. So it's a similar look to how they were 2 years back when Kawhi beat them in the playoffs. That was a really dangerous team with JJ Redick and Jimmy Butler, along with like Tobias Harris, Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid. So I think this will be a definitely better 76ers team than we saw last season. And then we got the Brooklyn Nets. Obviously, KD and Kyrie, you can't ignore that talent, even with guys, solid supporting cast like Jared Allen, Dinwiddie, Karis LeVert, you name it. And then I got the Celtics, who obviously, again, Tatum, I think, like Joey said, could be a dark horse MVP candidate, and especially as the leader of that team. Then you got Kemba Walker looking to bounce back from sort of a rough playoff performance, Jaylen Brown as well. And then I got Miami again. Can't disrespect the reigning Eastern Conference champions. They were tough, but it's a lot of talent that sort of precedes them on this list, like the Celtics, Nets, Sixers, you name it. Then I got the Raptors, our Raptors, Joey, in the 6th seed there. I mean, it's tough, but you see, even in the preseason, like that system works. Even if we lose talent and no more Ibaka, Gasol, that hurts our defense. And then you go out in the draft and you pick up Malachi Flynn, and in free agency you get Aaron Baines, Alex Len, sorry. So yeah, I mean, I think we'll be competitive as always, but it's just a tougher conference this year in the East. It's very top heavy for sure. And then I got the Pacers and the Hawks as in the 8 seeds. Pacers, I mean, again, it's sort of a system thing. They're competitive every year. You got Sabonis, Miles Turner, Malcolm Brogdon. Hard to bet against them. And the Hawks did a lot of free agency. So that's my 8 seed for sure.
All right. Hold on. Let me go to your Miami Heat. You just said minutes ago, don't disrespect the Eastern Conference champions. But then you got them finishing at 5. Ain't that kind of disrespectful?
Nah, I mean, it's too much talent above them on the list. Like,
but they was the Eastern Conference champions.
No, they were, and that's why I'm saying don't leave them out of playoff conversations. But I don't think in the regular season, like they were the 5 seed last season, and they made the finals. They might just be one of those teams, especially with that Jimmy Butler mentality that he kind of passes along to the young guys on that team, where they really step it up. Like they're competitive all the time, and they kind of take it into an extra gear come playoff time.
I guess. Let me get to my Eastern Conference 1 through 8. Ben, I'm in agreement with you. I got the Bucks still at number 1. We talking about just the regular season here, people. We're not talking about the playoffs just yet. We talking about the regular season. They still have a solid team. You take out Eric Bledsoe, put in Drew Holiday, that's an upgrade to me. And then that takes pressure off Chris Middleton. Chris Middleton, if he can be more comfortable being a scorer a little bit. I think Chris Middleton's not comfortable being a focal point. I think that's why the Bucks, they falter a little bit. Then you still got Giannis, still got Brook Lopez. So, I mean, I think they just don't have – and now they just extended, maxed out Giannis. So, I think they're going to have a stranglehold on the number 1 seed this year. Number 2, I have the Brooklyn Nets in number 2. there's no excuse for them not finishing top 4. Top 3, if you want to go that far. A healthy KD, a healthy Kyrie, and even if Kyrie gets hurt, you still got Spencer Dinwiddie. You still got Caris LeVert. You still got Jared Allen. You still have Joe Harris shooting threes. This team is loaded, and if they click on all cylinders, it's gonna be, oh man, I don't know, Giannis. I don't know. You signed that extension, but the Nets might take over the East. I don't know. Number 3, I have the Boston Celtics at 3. Their wing talent is still phenomenal, led by my boy Jason Tatum, and you still got Jaylen Brown, Kemba Walker. He's somebody that's gonna be looking forward this year for the Celtics. Him being up and down in the playoffs, what I think led to the Boston Celtics ultimately getting eliminated. But and then also I'm looking for them to try to make a move. They should still have Miles Turner on their radar. They should still have him. At number 4, I got the 76ers. I got the 76ers at 4. But the crazy thing about the 76ers is they could be the number 2 seed. They can. It all depends on Ben Simmons. If Ben Simmons stay healthy, and I think he does need to take a few more jumpers. Now, I know that's not his game, but you still need to at least attempt to take those jump shots. Be a little bit more dangerous.
Yeah, you need to force people to guard you.
Yeah,
especially as a point guard.
Exactly. And it's already tough to guard him, and he's 16 playing point. So, but that team, they did great in the all season as far as getting their biggest need, which was shooters for Ben Simmons and for Embiid. They got Seth Curry in there. They got Danny Green. So I think they'll finish 4. At 5, I got the Heat. Just because they're returning the same team, nothing has changed. It's the same flaws. A lot of teams gonna be playing harder against them. You know, teams tend to play hard against those contenders. You know, try to show out and everything, try to beat them. So I think this thing is gonna happen with the Heat. And I agree with you, Ben. I think as far as the regular season, probably not gonna be one of those teams that take the conversation. But when it gets close to playoff time, that's when we're gonna see them heat up. Pun intended.
Nice.
Number 6, I have y'all Raptors at 6, just because they got their core intact. They got the same system. Nick Nurse, fantastic coach. Siakam, he has to get better. He has to get a little bit more dominant. But you know, the problem is that they don't have that. They don't have that it player. No, when Kawhi was there, he was that it player. They don't have that. If they had that it player, the Raptors could come out the East, but they just don't have that punch.
That's why I'm so mad that Giannis re-signed, man. We needed that because Siakam, I love him, but I think he's the best number 2 in the league, but he's not ready to be number 1. It doesn't seem like.
Right. And 7, I have the Hawks at 7. I just expect last year I picked them to at least push for a playoff seed. They didn't. But this year they got better. And then you still have John Collins, who's underrated, Trae Young. So they should be better. At 8, I got the Magic at 8. I don't know how this team always make the playoffs somehow. And I can't bet against that. I've been betting against that for the past few years, and they somehow get the 7 or the 8 seed. It just happens. I don't know what's with this team. I don't know. It's like they don't get better, but they don't get worse. And they just somehow met the playoffs. And then when they get in the playoffs, they somehow manage to win one game in the series. I don't know how the hell that happens.
They always take game 1.
Yeah, always take game 1. I don't know, but I just can't bet against them because of that. So those my 8 right there. Joey, who is your 8 as far as the East?
Ours are pretty similar for the most part. I got the Bucks at 1 just because I think they're like that dominant regular season team. But just like what Ben and you were saying, I don't think they'll get by like the Nets or even how the 76ers are built this year. And at number 2, I got the Brooklyn Nets. Like the only reason why I think they're going to be number 2 and not 1 is because they're going to give a lot of rest to Kyrie and KD to make sure that they're healthy for the playoffs. So the regular season to them, I don't think is too big of a deal. But even without them, there's nights that they do bench them. They still have so much talent on that team. At number 3, I got the 76ers. I think their biggest issue was shooting, and they got that this year with Danny Green and Seth Curry now. So yeah, I think they'll be a much improved team. Number 4, I got the Boston Celtics, led by Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. I really like that duo, and they're just getting another year older. They made it to the Eastern Conference Finals last year, so I think they're legit now. I think they can do some damage come playoff time. Number 5, just like both of you, I got the Miami Heat. It's just a really talented conference now, and like this isn't like a jab at them or anything, putting them at 5. It's just they have the same roster, and I think all the teams in front of them got better this offseason. At number 6, I got the Raptors, just like both of you. Yeah, like Nick Nurse, I think will make the Raptors more competitive than I think they would be, just because of his system and like his coaching abilities. Losing Gasol and Ibaka are really, really going to hurt. But I really like Aaron Baines. We'll see what happens there. But losing those two guys, you're going to feel it. 7, I got the Atlanta Hawks. You can't ignore what they did this offseason, and Trae Young just getting another year older. I think they're destined to make the playoffs this year, but I don't see them being higher than a 7 seed. And 8, I have the Pacers. They're just always going to make the playoffs with the players they got, led by Oladipo.
Yeah, facts.
Okay, so both of y'all have the Pacers, and I have the Magic. Like, what is it about the Magic that makes them not put makes you guys not put them into your playoff picture, Ben?
I mean, listen, like you said, they're sort of a perennial bottom feeder in the playoffs, and they always somehow take game 1 and then get swept the next 4 games. But man, this Pacers team is hard to ignore. Like I said, Sabonis, Oladipo, Turner, Malcolm Brogdon, even T.J. Warren was crazy in the bubble last season.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying he's going to keep that up. I'm not saying he's going to average 30 points per game next season. Maybe not even 20, but it's a good team. It's a good team. And they just got picked up a new head coach, former Raptors assistant. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he does with that team. And they're still like one of the more talented teams out of those sort of lower half playoff contenders. So I think the Pacers are definitely better than that.
Yeah, but my thing about the Pacers is one, of course, all the defensively they're gonna be fun, but offensively they always like struggle to score. They struggle to keep up with teams that got that strong offensive punch. And then number 2, like the health factor for me, like with Oladipo, he didn't look the same when he came back. He wasn't the Oladipo we expected him to be.
Mm.
T.J. Warren, he'll get nicked up here and there. You know, he's a solid scorer. He's always good for 19, 20. And then the development of Miles Turner, I don't know where this is going. He's been a part of trade room for the past, 2-3 seasons. Are they going to keep him, or are they going to, what are they doing? And I just think that this team is going to, kind of rebuild during the year and kind of reload for their –
Yeah.
it just hasn't worked for them. They had pretty much the same core with Nate McMillan, and they haven't won a playoff series. So I don't know. Joey, why you have the Pacers over the Magic? What is it about the Magic that makes you not want to put them in the playoffs?
I just feel like there's a better core there in Indiana. Like that's just all there really is to it for me. Like Aaron Gordon's a solid piece. They have a good bench led by all these names are escaping me today. They got a decent bench. Like, I think they'll still be competitive, and it wouldn't surprise me if they do sneak in over the Pacers. But yeah, like I just think the Pacers are a better team, and they've been there more and they've been there, especially in higher seeds too. So I know they got swept last year as the 4 seed to Miami, but I just don't.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I just don't see them like missing the playoffs. Like if anyone, that's just how I see it.
Yeah, and just like you mentioned, they were the 4 seed last year, so I can't expect, unless they do like rebuild and break everything down and blow everything up. Like they're the 4 seed last year. I can't expect a 4 seed from last season to not even make the playoffs this year.
Hey,
it happens. I know, but
it happens. Because we about to go to the West, and I'm
Oh.
about to kick it off. I got a team that made the playoffs last year. That's not gonna make it this year.
I got a couple.
You got a couple, okay? So
Yeah.
I mean, the Pacers could do the same thing, but let's go ahead and go to the West. Number one, obviously, at number one, nothing needs to be said, so I'm just gonna roll past them. Number two, the Denver Nuggets at number two. I'm very high on the Denver Nuggets this year. Very, very high. They was the number 2 seed a couple years ago. They got to the Western Conference Finals, this past season. This year, they should still be a strong team during the regular season, and they should make the push for the Western Conference Finals again this year. That's what I'm expecting. Western Conference Finals or bust for them. Like, that's their ceiling right there, because I just don't think anybody's going to beat the Lakers in the West this year. I just don't see it, because they just got better. They lost pieces. They did what I expected them. They lost pieces, but they still got better somehow. So I got Lakers at 1, Nuggets at 2, at 3. I got the Clippers. Say what you want, but they still have a strong team. They still together. They added y'all boy Serge Ibaka into the fold. That's Kawhi. That's Kawhi's homeboy too. So Kawhi's going to be a little bit more comfortable. Paul George is somebody that I'm going to be looking at to improve this year. And also, what will Ty Lue add that Doc Rivers didn't do last year? Because, Ty Lue was assistant coach last year during that whole debacle, that collapse. So can Ty Lue change, tweak some things, get them in a proper position to make it out the West? At their strongest, they can make it out the West. They have the team to beat the Lakers, but it's all about up here for them. It's all about up here. And number 4, I got the Houston Rockets. Like I said earlier, they still a strong team, especially if Cousins stay healthy, Wall stay healthy. Wall is one of my favorite players to watch. Hopefully he stays on the floor. Christian Wood, if he's not going to put up 27 and 10 in the season like he did in the preseason, but he's that type of player that's going to be a double-double, and they should have a strong team. Now they got bigs, they got a bench and everything. Like I said, it's all going to be dependent on James Harden. James Harden buys in, then the Rockets will be dangerous. If he doesn't, he just stays where he at right now. He's like 1 foot in, 1 foot out. It's not going to go well for him, man. He probably will be traded before the season ends. And number 5, I have the Dallas Mavericks at number 5. I believe they had acquired Josh Richardson, if I'm not mistaken. That's a nice third option on this team. This team is going to go as far as Porzingis health goes. Like, if Porzingis stay healthy, they're going to be dangerous. Because we can in retrospect, if we look at that series against the Clippers, they could have beat the Clippers.
Yeah,
Porzingis because they had nobody to guard Porzingis.
Yeah, and even when Porzingis got ejected, what was it, game 1, game 2? The Mavs were in it. He gets ejected. They're not in it anymore. You know what I mean? So, and his health obviously at the tail of that series. So I agree for sure.
Yeah, they was tied 2-2 in the series. So, I mean, we'll see what happens with the Mavericks. They one of those teams that can go all the way up, or they can fall down a little bit. Number 6, I got the Blazers. Defensively, this team just – did y'all see that Dame Lillard tweet? He was like, basically, we got to get better on defense. Hopefully that was his own Twitter account. I got to double check that.
I think adding Rocco takes care of that, though, I think.
But I still don't – and then they lost Hassan Whiteside. Say what you want about Hassan Whiteside, but he somehow gets 3 blocks a game.
Yeah. So –
I don't know. Nurkic is a good offensive center, but defensively you can give him problems, and he tends to foul out and all that. So just defense for the Blazers. 7, this is the same thing that we was talking about the Pacers, the same thing we was talking about the Magic. We don't know how, but this team always makes the playoffs somehow. The Utah Jazz. They always make the playoffs. They just extended, Gobert. They just gave Donovan Mitchell a big contract. They still got solid pieces. But they just somehow make the playoffs. I don't know how. And they return to is his last name Bogdanovich too?
Yep.
Yeah, so he's coming back healthy. They just get it done somehow. Yeah. I don't know. And then number 8, this was like the toughest thing because you got a whole bunch of teams that can go for that 7, 8, 6 through 8, really. But I ended up putting the Suns there. And the only reason why I got them over the top reason why I got them over like the Warriors and the Grizzlies is, they got Chris Paul. Just leadership. He can pull the best out of players, and I think he's going to do that this year with not only Devin Booker but also DeAndre Ayton, who's vastly underrated. 18-10 guy. I just think they're going to grab the AC versus the Warriors team who, they have a solid team, but I still have questions about them defensively. Defensively, they're not going to be the same as they were. And then their bench is not as good as it used to be. So they still have some things to work on. But those are my 1 through 8. Joey, who you have 1 through 8 in the West?
All right. Number 1, you're not going to like this, but I got the Nuggets just because because it's like a fake 1 seed. I have them as like a fake 1 seed just because I think they're going to rest like LeBron a lot of games, the Lakers and stuff, just to they're not getting past the Lakers in the playoffs, but it's more like
sort of like the Bucks being 1.
Yeah.
You should cover.
Yeah. And then I got the Lakers at number 2 in the regular season. I think they are the best team in the West. They'll just be using load management a lot in the regular season. That's just what I think. At number 3, I got the other LA team, the Clippers. At number 3, they still got Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. Ibaka's obviously a really good pickup for them too. Like they're still going to be a force, and should be expected to make the Eastern Conference final or the Western Conference Finals. My bad. At number 4, I got the Rockets. James Harden is just going to lead them there. He's just going to score. Like the only thing I'd say about them is there's a lot of new pieces there. So with the shortened off season and stuff, I have a feeling that it's going to take them a while to gel as a unit together. But I think they'll have it figured out by the end and be the 4 seed. At number 5, I got the Dallas Mavericks. Like Luka and Porzingis together are a force. Like they're almost unguardable together. It's a matchup issue for a lot of teams against Porzingis. So and Luka, I think, will be an MVP candidate. So I think they're going to be the 5th seed. At 6, I have the Warriors. I just don't want to go. It's just hard for me to bet against Steph Curry, a healthy Steph Curry and all that, and Draymond Green. Like they still got pretty good pieces. He has Wiggins there to help him on the offensive side. I know defensively he's not that great, but yeah, that take a load off him offensively, especially with Thompson not being there. At 7, I got the Phoenix Suns. Chris Paul is the leader. He'll get them there. Booker has another guy there now. I think he'll take another step this season too. So will DeAndre Ayton. I'm a big fan of seeing what they can do this year. And at number 8, I got the Utah Jazz, I really like Donovan Mitchell. He's one of my favorite players to watch. He's extremely skilled. He'll get them to the playoffs. And Gobert too is obviously a great defender, and he'll be there too. But outside of that, like they got Joe Ingles, like good like role player, but there's not really much else there. But I just have a feeling that just because of Donovan Mitchell and like Gobert, they'll make it.
I'm going to get on you, right?
Yeah, I know.
After Ben gets through his, we got to go back to yours. Ben, go ahead, give us your 1 through 8 in the West.
Yeah, I mean, I got the Lakers at the 1 seed. They were the 1
Thank
seed
you.
pretty comfortably last season, no worries. And they got better. They got better over the offseason. So I think the Lakers are the 1 seed pretty comfortably. And then you got the Clippers at 2, in my opinion. Nuggets at 3. I like the Nuggets a lot as well. Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic is a tough young combo. Then I got the Mavericks at 4. Like you said, it depends very largely on Porzingis' health. But hopefully he can stay relatively healthy as soon as he gets back from injury. Then I got the Suns 5. And the reason I have them so high is Chris Paul dragged the Oklahoma City Thunder to the 5 seed last season.
Yeah.
And I think he has a better supporting cast in Phoenix than he did in OKC. Now, Dennis Schroeder, obviously a very good player. You got Shea and you got Steven Adams, Danilo Gallinari as well as a good piece. But I think just Devin Booker would be easily better than any of those guys I just mentioned. And DeAndre Ayton as well is one of the better young bigs in the league. So hopefully with the addition of Chris Paul, he can sort of take a step up as well. And then there I got the Warriors at 6. I think just again, it's hard, like Joey said, it's hard to bet against Steph Curry. Then you got the addition of Kelly Oubre Jr. You got Andrew Wiggins. Hopefully Draymond Green has a bounce back year. And then who knows? I want to see what James Wiseman does. Everyone expects him to sort of be in that top 3 for Rookie of the Year. I didn't watch too much. I don't even know if he really played in the preseason for the Warriors.
No, he didn't. He was on
play,
I think COVID watch or something.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see what he does. We didn't get to see too much from him at Memphis, obviously, since he had those eligibility issues and then he ended up dropping out. But in the short, sort of sample size that we got of him, he looked great. And then the Jazz at 7 for me. I mean, I think, like you said, Stacey, they make the playoffs every year. And they also have they have a pretty solid team. I mean, Bojan Bogdanovic, like you said, I think is the better of the 2 Bogdanoviches. He's pretty solid. Like Joey said, you got Joe Ingles, and then you got obviously Gobert, who I think they overpaid him a bit, in my opinion. And then you got obviously Donovan Mitchell, one of the best young players in the league. And at the 8 seed, I got the Portland Trail Blazers. And I think they're always sort of a playoff team. And then you add a guy like Robert Covington, just a good 3-and-D guy, to play alongside the second best point guard in the league, which is Damian Lillard. Listen, I think I left Houston out, and I'm surprised nobody got on me for that as I was going through. But yeah, I left out Houston just because, man, I think you lose Russell Westbrook, you add John Wall. Who knows what's going to happen with Harden? I think if Harden plays through the season, you're fine. You're like a mid-tier playoff team. DeMarcus Cousins, I don't think is the answer for them at center. Christian Wood is a good player. I haven't seen too much of him. Like he really only broke out like after the All-Star break with Detroit last year. So that's a pretty small sample size. Hopefully he does well. But I think if James Harden doesn't play, which I don't think he's going to, at least through the whole season, based on what we've seen, really kind of heavily requesting trades, going to strip clubs, skipping practice, stuff like that. And let me tell you, those strip club nachos did him dirty. He's looking big. He's looking big.
Come on,
but he can still play.
It could be photoshopped.
I hope they're photoshopped. It's pretty dramatic change from the bubble to now.
I saw.
But I'm sure they're photoshopped. Or just
on
bad
Twitter.
Angles.
I saw on Twitter someone saying he looks like 2 Chainz now. No, not 2. Yeah,
Gucci Mane.
Oh
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. After before Gucci Mane went to prison, he was looking a little big. But
yeah.
I mean, no, Rick Ross. They said he looked like
Rick Ross. That's it.
But yeah, I mean, I think if you're depending on the health of John Wall, that's a pretty bad position to be in, because who knows what's going to happen? He slips in the shower, he tears his ACL, he's out for 2 years. You know what I mean? So I don't know. The Wizards went through that same issue with depending on his health, and it never worked out for them. So I think if that's your main concern is depending on the health of guys like John Wall and DeMarcus Cousins, you're not going to go very far.
Yeah, but I mean, at the end of the day, they still have James Harden on the team.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. If Harden plays through the year, they'll be like a mid-tier playoff team.
Right.
But
so you
I'm not
traded. Then that's when they're not going to make the playoffs.
Exactly. If he gets traded or sits out, then they're not going to make the playoffs.
I don't think he's going to sit out. He probably just not.
I mean, he played in the preseason, but we saw with like Kawhi and Anthony Davis, like it actually happens. Guys sit out from time to time when they're not happy with their situation.
Yeah, we'll see about that. But Joey, the Nuggets at number 1. I can't believe that you went that far to saying the Nuggets are going to be number 1. First of all, LeBron said last year, he said if he's healthy, then damn it, he's going to play in the game. They're not going to low manage this year. They already we all seen what happened with the Clippers when Kawhi Leonard was trying to low manage. They ended up not having any chemistry, and look what happened to them. They lost in the playoffs after being up 3-1. And you have the nerve to say they gonna load the Lakers.
I don't think the Nuggets are a better team. I just feel like with the way the regular season works, in a lot of ways, like I just think that the Nuggets are more built for like a better regular season run than they will be for playoff success. I still think they make the Eastern Conference Finals probably. It's either them or the Clippers going up against the Lakers, but I still think the Lakers are going to win the championship this year too. Like it's just the way it works. Like Milwaukee in the East.
No, they.
All right, let's.
I'm sorry, Nuggets not gonna finish one. Who's guarding AD? Let me bring Mike in on the show. Who's guarding AD the whole season? Who's guarding AD?
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's obviously it works. It's always a good point. But that's crazy. Y'all both have the Warriors at 6, or the Warriors making the playoffs at least. So you guys are not worried about them defensively? Because that was my question about them. Even with Steph Curry being healthy, even with Draymond being healthy, defense is still a factor for me.
I don't know. For me, like a healthy Draymond, like will really help them in that department. Like he's just like when he's healthy, he's one of the more dominant defenders in the league.
Ben, what you think? Are you worried about you're not worried about the Warriors defensively?
I mean, it's definitely a concern, but I think Steph Curry gets a little bit too much hate on the defensive end. Teams will target him in the playoffs, but that's mainly because they want to tire him out for the offensive end. He's definitely a tough player, man. He's not bad on the defensive end. He's like a very average defender.
Getting better. He's getting
better. He's a very average defender. He's got decent size at the point guard position, like he's 6'3". And then Andrew Wiggins as well. Obviously, he doesn't put that much effort in on the defensive end, but he's got good size and length at his position to kind of guard guys like 1 through 4. And then Draymond, like Joey said, is one of the best defenders in the league when he's actually, like last year, it didn't seem like he was putting in effort anywhere on the court. But like, you know, he's a defensive player of the year candidate back when the Warriors were winning. So it's tough. It's tough. It might be a question mark for sure, but I don't think it's going to drag them out of the playoffs.
Yeah, we'll see about it. I think if Clay was there, they'll definitely make the playoffs in my eyes. Because Clay just makes up for them a lot on defense. Clay always guards the toughest players, does a fantastic job. Steph, he does get steals, but that's like, I think that's an off-ball thing. On-ball, I still kind of worry about Steph, but Andrew Wiggins, he just – I don't know. Like you said, he has to be engaged. He has to be there mentally on defense, and right now I just can't count on that. I just can't count on that right now. And then outside of them, they're very young outside of them. So we'll see what happens with that. All right, so, you know, on this show, I always – dedicate some time to the fan in you, and we gonna go ahead and switch over to the Raptors. Both of you have the Raptors finishing at 6. What do y'all think? And Joey, I'll start with you. Do y'all think the Raptors could ever get back to that point that was in 2018, 2019 with the championship with Kawhi there and everything else? Do y'all think they can get back to that point?
I really thought that there was going to be a chance that they would, but then Giannis went and signed his Supermax deal.
I don't think there was never a shot of Giannis going to.
I don't know. I saw a report from Mark Spears afterwards, after he signed it, saying that if he was going to leave anywhere, it was going to be Toronto, which is really great to hear. Right after he signs the deal, but yeah, like they're. Like what Ben said earlier, I think Siakam's like a great player, but he's probably like a number 2, like on a championship team, and probably one of the best number 2s in all of basketball. They just need like one more player to come in. I think they can get that from within. I think OG Anunoby has a very high ceiling. It'll just take another like couple years with him. Like when I watch him play, he looks like a younger Kawhi Leonard. Like it's crazy when I watch him play. Like I kind of see like flashes of that, especially with his personality too and how he is. But yeah, like I just They'll need another like true number one player to be back there for sure.
Now, Ben, what you think about Toronto, like the future of them?
I mean, listen, with Masai at the helm, I'll never be sort of worried about us being competitive because like he always does something that we worry about. Like he trades DeMar DeRozan, everyone is sort of upset about that. We win a championship the next year. So he's always sort of willing to do whatever it takes to make us competitive. Like that was our franchise player, the first guy who kind of was like, I love being in Toronto. So obviously the city loved him.
Mm-hmm.
And so I traded him at the cost of a ring, and everyone's happy about that. So I think he'll do sort of whatever it takes to make us competitive. I can see him. I might see him trading for James Harden or another big name like possibly Bradley Beal, Victor Oladipo in the next year or so to sort of keep us just someone who can create their own shots, like a wing who can create their own shots to keep us in that conversation. Because like I said and like Joey said, Pascal is a great player, and I think he's a really elite number two guy. I don't think he can be an elite number one guy though. And we sort of saw that decline post All-Star break, and then it really sort of was emphasized in the bubble. And then I don't know, like I love OG. I love OG as well. If we have to trade him to get a guy like Harden, I would. But like Joey said, he's like perfect build. He's got the same build as Kawhi. He's great defender. Always guards the best player on the other team. Good length, good size, and he's starting to develop his offensive game as well. So that's another young guy that I really like to keep my eye on, and of course Malachi Flynn as well. Masai never misses in the draft, so hopefully he can develop into something great too.
Yeah, they're gonna need that because I don't know if Toronto will ever land a superstar
A
like
big
out of
free
free
agent.
agency. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It has to be one of those Kawhi things where they trade. Maybe he'll be there for a year or two. You don't know, but it's a championship piece. It's definitely gonna have to come down to a trade. But I just don't know. Like I don't get it far as Toronto because they have a strong culture and everything. They have a winning team. They literally one superstar away, but it's just I don't know like why they're not that more attractive. Another question I have about the Raptors is they're gonna start, I believe they're gonna start the year in Tampa, right?
Mm-hmm.
So do you guys think that this is going to hurt them in the beginning of the year? That's going to hurt them for the long term, them playing in Tampa Bay instead of Toronto. Joey, what you think about that?
I don't think so. Just because they've been there for a few weeks now already, and they just got like a great culture there to like keep them focused and keep them in check, like with Nick Nurse and Masai Ujiri there. Um, yeah, they're just like not a team that like really falters when like there's a bit of when there's like a hard road in front of them. Like they're always got the right mentality and all that. And like Kyle Lowry's a true leader. I don't think he'll let the other guys in the room like feel like uncomfortable in while playing in Tampa and all that. So I don't think it'll be too much of an issue.
Now, Ben, what you think about them playing in Tampa?
Yeah, no, I agree, and it's good because they don't have to like stay away from their families this time. Obviously, they're staying away from like their homes, their family homes in Toronto. But it's not like the bubble where you're just by yourself in a hotel or something. It sounds like they got good places set up down there, practice facility, all that sort of stuff. And it's adversity for sure. Like they're practicing in a ballroom or something. Like their practice facilities at a hotel, I think, or something like that. But yeah, I mean, this team is used to adversity, and just like Joey said, the culture, the sort of mindset in that locker room, led by Kyle Lowry, and of course, Coach of the Year Nick Nurse, is just sort of unfaltering. I don't think they're going to waver.
All right. Now let's switch over here.
All right.
Over here in Los Angeles, we gotta talk about the Lakers. I gotta represent the Lakers. I gotta hold it down for Mike. The Lakers. A lot of people have picked them to repeat as champions, and I think that is justified. Like I said, they got better in free agency. They upgraded a little bit in free agency. I was looking for them to get a younger point guard. They got that Dennis Schroeder. I was looking for them to upgrade from Danny Green a little bit because Danny Green like kind of wavered back and forth. They got Wesley Matthews for that. They stole. I'm gonna use the word stole. They stole Marcus Gasol from you guys. He retired and then just came back to LA. That's crazy.
I thought he went to Barcelona.
Yeah, there's a rumor that he signed in Spain too. So
yeah,
it's weird.
And we like, you want to come? He's like, yeah, of course. So they have that. Montrezl Harrell was a fantastic piece. I don't know if this is true, and I don't know if y'all seen the story. He turned down a $80 million contract or something with the Hornets to play for the Lakers. I don't know if that's true. Did you guys see that?
I saw that. I'm not sure how true it is, but I did see that report.
Ben,
I didn't see it, but I know he turned down money elsewhere to play for a contender, which is fair. I mean, I don't know what his contract was like with the Lakers, but he's still making like tens of millions of dollars a year. It's not like he's missing out on that.
Yeah, so he's buying into the fact that he can get another ring.
Exactly.
LeBron, he's getting older. He's still going to put up his numbers. Last year I predicted that he was going to take a dip a little bit in scoring, which he only did by like 2 points. And but I also predicted that he was going to lead the league in assists and finish with his first double-double, which he did. I'm expecting the same this year, LeBron. I think AD should be the leading scorer on this team for them to go far. But the one big piece I'm looking for is Kyle Kuzma's development. Kyle Kuzma is in a weird space right now. Like I think he's still trying to find his footing on the Lakers. Like last year, you have LeBron, you have AD, you have other guys, other big personalities coming through, and you just a young guy. You were the focal point at one point. You were that, 19 points per game, getting 20, all that. But now it's like you have to take a step back, and where do you go from here? So I think Kyle Kuzma's development will be key. I think for the Lakers this year, it's going to be the same thing. It's going to be on AD and everybody else. To a certain extent, AD has to be a little stronger, and then everybody else has to contribute. Then LeBron, he's just going to do how he see fit. I'm not looking for him to go for 25, 30 every night. It's probably going to be some nights where he's not going to do that. So what do you guys think about the Lakers this coming season? Do you guys see any flaws or anything about the Lakers?
I think they're about as close to a flawless team as you get. Especially with the moves they made this offseason. Like they went and they already have LeBron and AD, and on top of that, they go and get the sixth man of the year and the runner-up for the sixth man of the year, just for their bench. So it definitely takes a load off of LeBron and Anthony Davis. Like they don't need to worry about they can kind of not really they don't got to worry as much, I guess, which is good for them. And yeah, there's Gasol's obviously still at his age is a great defender. He'll definitely be a valuable add for you guys, and I think. I don't see another team coming close to beating them in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Joey 100%. You take a team that had only lost, I think, 4-5 games all through the postseason, and of course they win the championship, and then you add, like he said, sixth man of the year runner up, and a former defensive player of the year in Marcus Gasol. It's just tough, man. Like, how do you really combat that if you're another team, in my opinion? And then, of course, you got two perennial MVP candidates. So, yeah, no, I don't see any flaws with this team. None that are very obvious, truthfully.
Yeah. Oh, they could get a little more athletic in the front court, just a little bit more. But I think
that's one thing that Marcus Gasol is going to lack.
Yeah, losing, Dwight Howard, who's, still has athleticism, not like his Orlando days, but he still got it. But I think Marc Gasol's IQ is going to override him not having that athleticism no more. They might bring Paul Gasol in the fold. They might bring him in. So you never know. But all right, that was the end of the NBA special of SOS Podcast. Stacey on sports. I had Toronto in the building. Toronto represented well. Joey, tell us about your social media. Where can people follow you at? And tell us about your podcast a little bit. Where can they follow them at?
All right, you can follow me on Twitter at Joey Congi 98. I'll post all my stuff on there. I am the co-host of 2 podcasts. One is called the Queen City Roundup, where we talk about everything Toronto sports. So it'll be Raptors. We talk a lot of hockey just because it is Canada. You know, a lot of hockey, baseball too. So yeah, if you're interested in any of that, check us out at Q_City Roundup on Twitter. And we're also I'm on another podcast where it's called Takes from the Nosebleeds, where we kind of mix sports and pop culture in with each other. And it's just like, we like to call it 4 friends in a group chat, just kind of shooting the shit. So yeah, that's just about what it is. So yeah, you can find us on Twitter at Nosebleeds Network spelled without the O. And yeah, that's where you can find me.
Yeah, make sure you give it a follow. Ben, social medias, plug them.
Yes, sir. It's at Okazawa Ben on Twitter, and you can find me with Stacey, who owns sports, on the Crown Hoops Pod at Crown Hoops Pod on Twitter.
Oh yeah, definitely give them a follow, and don't forget about me, SC the Second. Follow me at SC the Second everywhere, social media. I do need to start posting a little more, but that's okay. Go Lakers, yes, go Lakers. Upcoming season.
Oh my God. Even the mask.
Yeah,
Ridiculous.
Of course. I gotta represent. All right, and best of luck to Toronto too, or the Tampa Bay Raptors, whatever y'all want to see.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, it's fun. Thank you.
Until next time.